Hello, good afternoon. It seems like I always have something to talk about. Doesn't it seem like that? Seem like it's always something interesting to talk about. Today, what I wanted to come and talk to y'all about is drug addicts. Why you need to protect yourself from drug addicts and why you need to curse them. Um, and just some interesting spiritual stuff about drug addiction and why drug addicts are on a rampage. Before I get deep into this discussion, if you could hit the thumbs up. I noticed that a lot of people don't hit the thumbs up. I should, if I have 40 views on a video, I should have at least 20 likes. Okay, so if y'all could please do that, I would appreciate it. Thank you very much. So let's talk about drug addicts. And we're not talking about marijuana. We're talking about actual hard drugs, is what we're talking about. We're talking about drugs that um, create a psychological and a physical need for people. And why very often, if you guys have ever watched Intervention, why drug addicts and their own family will tell them you need to either get off of drugs I'm not going to speak to you. And that is because drugs have an energy. They have an energy. They have a demon attached to them. And really, to be honest with you, when it comes to drug dealers, they have curses on them already, drug dealers. They would like to see everybody addicted to drugs. A lot of the issues and problems that we have are actually caused by the war on drugs. And I actually heard somebody say the other day, because I think it was Vegan Gains. I heard him say that the number one leading factor behind single mothers is drugs and drug addiction. Okay. And that is the truth. Drug addicts are on a rampage, and you'll even find them on YouTube. Um, on the surface of it all, it is their need for drugs. They will do anything for crack cocaine, methamphetamine, or heroin. They will do anything for it, anything, and they don't care about who they affect. Listen, one of the reasons why drug addicts are on YouTube attacking business owners is because they are angry at you. One of the main reasons why drug addicts will attack you at your job. They are angry at you because the money that you are making, they can't spend on drugs. So that's why they always hang out. They're always watching. They're always contemplating. They're always angry because you, as a responsible person, and then especially when it comes to spiritualists on here, one of the reasons why you're having so many issues in tarot land and in the spiritual community is the people that are on drugs. That was one of the first smear campaigns that they did against me in the spiritual community. And part of the reason why is because they feel that you shouldn't spend your money on healing yourself and getting spiritual help because they feel like, I need drug money. Every dollar, every penny, every nickel has to be used towards those drugs. So, for example, if I were to come on here and I were to say I had 10 people join my Maybon circle, they're going to calculate 10 times, because of course they've went to my website. They don't have the money to pay for help, which, to be honest with you, I can, spirituality can help, but drug addicts just have to love themselves. They have to put their family, they have to put their children, they have to put themselves before that drug. Okay. But if I were to say I've had 10 people join my circle, they're going to add that up. If I were to show any indication of how many people have joined my Maybon circle already, they're going to add it up. They're going to get very angry and they're going to go on the attack. Why? Because what is that? That's almost $1,000. That's $1,000 that they could have paid for their drugs with. They can't walk into a government building or an AT&T store or a grocery store and cuss out the workers there. They can't do that. So that's why they come to YouTube. Some of them have even made it a hustle on YouTube. At the same time, they're angry because how dare you use your money? How dare you make money and then use the money to pay your bills? That money, every drop, every penny of the dollar bill, a drug addict wants to spend it on their drugs. Because after a while, when you own that kind of narcotic, everything is about that drug. Everything, even music, songs, everything relates and goes back to the drug that they are addicted to. Now let's talk about the physics and the witchcraft behind drug addiction. The drug dealer is a magician. Even if they're on drugs themselves, they are a magi because it is witchcraft. Just like witchcraft is connected to spirits, so is it when it comes to drugs. And, again, like I said, drug dealers, they wouldn't mind if everybody was addicted to drugs because that would mean more money for them. I've been working with La Santísima Muerta on this too, because she recognizes it as well. She recognizes both sides of the coin, the head and the tail, and everything in between. When it comes to drug activity, okay, when it comes to that, people that are on drugs already have a curse on them. Your job is to protect your family and your loved ones from them. Because nothing matters to the drug addict except for the drugs. They are willing to do anything to get it. So, for example, High Priestess Jamila, which is myself, I have been on here selling rituals and spiritual work and healing people for years. The drug addict doesn't care about that. It's all about the money. It's all about, I'm angry and I'm hating on you because you are making money that does not go towards my drug addiction. And you can't listen to a word that they say. You have to just ignore them and pass it off as, yeah, this person is just on drugs. Because the problem is that all of their money goes towards drugs. They can't get their own place. They can't get an apartment or a house or buy an apartment, a house, or a car. Well, many of them do have cars because they need cars. Drug addicts have to have cars or some mode of transportation that usually belongs to someone else. And at the core of it, they probably want to get off the drugs or either want it at some point to get off of these drugs that is messing them up, but they couldn't do it because it is an addiction. How do you come to YouTube and have drug addicts, even become attracted to you? Well, drug addicted people are naturally drawn to healers and shamans and witches. Part of the reason why is because they want you to fix their problem, but they want you to do it for free. So if y'all remember, I was talking about drug addicts want you to force them to hit rock bottom. So they're constantly saying, please make me hit rock bottom. Do something to me. Listen, spiritualists don't have the capability of doing that. Drug addicts have to realize that this is something that you have to do for yourself. Drug addiction has destroyed communities, lives of women and children everywhere. A lot of people focus on pedophilia. Well, that goes along with drugs. However, this has been a consistent problem especially in the Black community, but it affects all communities. It does. It affects all communities. But however, it really doesn't matter. Black or white really doesn't matter. After a while, what God will do is God will remove, or either their ancestors will start to make the money go low, real low. And so then they'll get angry and they'll push even more, to the point where they will start to call on demons and entities. They will sacrifice their own children for a hit of crack. Drug abusers will sell their children for a hit of crack. If somebody were to tell them, hey, your children, screw them, they'll say it. Oh, screw my kids, I need drugs. And they're very angry. And this is, and part of the reason why sometimes even on YouTube and in social media, drug addicts will gain some kind of notoriety and popularity. The reason, especially when it comes to empaths, because what will happen is that as an empath, if you listen to these drug addicts and you take in anything, then you're taking in the frequency of the drugs that they need or either they want. Drug addicts have a constant need. They have a constant want. They have a constant desire for that drug. And they don't care who they have to kill, destroy, defame, defraud. They will do it to you. And you have to protect yourself from them. So I believe that, first of all, I believe that a drug addict, like the moment that they take a hit, this is when they become extremely open to spirits walking in. So a part of that zombie apocalypse is drug addicts. I don't know if y'all remember over there in Florida where there was this guy that began to eat a man's face over in Florida. I think they said that he was on bath salts or something. Because if you are an addict and you can't get your drug of choice, you're going to do anything to replace it. So this is the reason why they take fentanyl. They'll take bath salts because they need an alternative to that drug. Are any of y'all willing to die for a drug addict? Somebody that did that to themselves? Are you willing to put you to how many of you women had to leave a drug addict? How many of you women had your husband or your baby daddy addicted to some kind of harsh narcotic? How many of y'all? Why did you do it? You did it for the betterment and the progression of your children because you didn't want your children to be affected. Because trust me, Your children will be negatively affected by a drug addict. Absolutely. So this is the reason why they get pushed away. You can even see it in the tarot. If you get the Temperance, the Death card, the Devil card, or either the Hermit, those represent the drug addict. And even though they may have druggy friends, they still feel very alone and isolated. So they are constantly trying to project that to other people. Yeah, they do need help, but who's going to die for them? Let's say that you were 3 to 4 months into building your dream home, right? Let's say you were working on that project and drug addicts walked up to you and decided they were going to do their drug magic on you. Or are you going to say, even, and see this, let me tell y'all something. Objects, houses, cars, when a person becomes deep into their addiction, everything else becomes more important than them because they're constantly trying to destroy what you're building. So, of course, objects and the things that you love, like for example, I just recently got me an alligator paw. I ain't had one in a while. Those things become more important than the drug addict because why should anybody have to give up the fruits of their labors for a drug addict? Hey, J Math. Your comforts, your food, your toilet paper, you know what I'm saying? The things that you love in life, why should you have to give that up because of a drug addict? The drug addicts are angry at you for making money. Drug addicts will show up at your job and stalk you. I know this for a fact. I've heard many, many stories from women that have left drug addicted men. And guess what? The first thing that those men do, the first thing that they do is show up at their job. Drug addicts are a problem in society. So are the dealers, but it's the addicts. Drug addicts are screwing up the economy. Why? Because they're constantly stealing, lying, and everything is about their addiction. They're very, very selfish people. They are. They don't care. They have to feed that drug. Okay, J Math. They have to feed that drug addiction. Everything that they have, even when they get, a lot of them get food stamps. They out there hustling. They get food stamps. They sell the food stamps. They don't actually use the food stamps for food. That's why the government started to drug test people that, are getting those benefits. They started to drug test them. They haven't really been harsh on these laws because it's almost like taking a crumb out of a baby's mouth. They will sell their diapers. They will sell their baby's formula. If it's a female drug addict, oh my goddess. And the problem is that they can ruin the rights and the freedoms and the liberties of other people because of the laws that are having to be created surrounding drug addicts. Think about the laws, the extra laws that have to be enacted because of drug addicts, the inconvenience that they cause to people that are on the straight and narrow. So drug addicts not only are bad for themselves, but other people. I've had to cut off people that I love very much because they were on drugs. Family. I've had to cut off family because of the drugs. Okay. The energy is horrible. It's off. Their consciousness See, a lot of people believe for some reason that drug addicts have no consciousness. They do. And it's constantly being projected to non-users. The moment a drug addict runs out of those drugs, here they come. If they could, they'd run up in your house and steal all your TVs and your computers. They would steal everything from you. They'll do it spiritually if they could. So what you have to do, and this may sound cruel, but sometimes you got to be cruel to be kind to yourself. Make their drug addiction destroy them. You got to curse them. Otherwise, you and your babies, I done heard too many stories of women and women and their children and men and their children being afflicted by drug addicts. I don't have empathy for them. I have empathy for the people that they harm or that they try to harm, all of the struggle that they create every single day. That's why they're doing it every day. That's why it's an everyday occurrence. Now, let's talk about the energy and the entities and the demons behind drug addiction. Everything on this earth has an energy. So I don't care if you're doing a protection incantation or your workings, you should include in that drug addicted consciousness is not going to affect you. They are in such dire need of those drugs that they will project that to you, and the next thing you know, they're in need. They'll lie on you. We call them sophisticated drug addicts. They always have some well thought out plan, some kind of intricate thought process of how they're going to, and let's face it, the drug addicts fuel the evil eye because drug addicts are angry at you because you're not addicted. They're mad at you. That addiction is a demon. It's a very bad demon. They don't like it, but they're addicted. Okay. And their drug dealers are the magi's that keep them coming back. They try to compare everything to it. They've even came on here and tried to compare the craft and getting readings to it. It's totally different. I think that there's a lot of people that can have an addictive personality, but when it comes to getting psychic readings and all of that stuff, that's not something that you have to worry about necessarily being addicted to. This is a chemical codependency that these people have. And, a lot of them will have this charismatic personality, but that charismatic personality comes from them doing drugs or either them putting up an act or a front to get the drug money. Right. Oh God, yeah. It is. It's a common form of witchcraft. That stuff is a potion. It's a potion and it ain't meant for healing. It's meant for killing. So that's why a lot of the times when you see things happen to people, you can tell that it's because they were dealing with a drug addict. They are pretty diabolical people. And most common, what you'll see the pimps. A lot of pimps have cocaine addictions. The moment you start to feel sorry for them, The moment that you start to feel bad for them, because I don't feel bad for them. Why should somebody else feel bad because they made a bad decision? Why should you not enjoy your life because of their bad decision making? Okay. That's the reason why drugs are illegal. Now, marijuana is different. However, marijuana can make people that are, that have demons and schizophrenia and paranoia, can make them worse. But when it comes to the harder drugs, and you can tell the ones that are on crack cocaine, you can tell the ones, even on YouTube, you can tell that that person high as a test pipe. And before they even, because when they smoke crack or when they build a tolerance to meth, they can't hold that high long enough. So when they beam up to Scotty, they're already thinking about that next high and they're desperate for it. Okay, they're very desperate for that drug. And they do some pretty ruthless things. It's witchcraft within itself. You ever be having a good day and you run into a drug addict and they just bring you all the way down? You have to protect your energy. And they have no one to blame but themselves. Well, that's exactly what they're doing. They are temporarily heightening their consciousness, but they are in contact. To me, I feel like it's the Nephilim. I feel like really bad demons that have nothing but hatred and visceral for this earth are connected to drugs because that's what they were designed to do. I have an anti-drug addict jar. I don't want them nowhere near me. I don't want a drug addict anywhere near me, talking about me, speaking of me, even thinking about me. Because let me tell you something. You can actually, empaths, and it's not just me, have reported feeling the side effects of a drug addict. Guess what they don't talk about? They don't talk about the side effects, which is anxiety, depression. They don't talk about the side effects of those drugs. They don't. But that's what they have. Even people that are on certain medications, um, whether or not it's for blood pressure, for um, diarrhea, for whatever, you'll feel the side effects. A lot of us were feeling side effects from even vaccines, but when it comes to drug addicts, like people that are on good old fashioned crack cocaine, heroin, 9 times out of 10, and I've learned this through watching intervention, they have to, if they're on heroin or some kind of downer, they have to have an upper. So they need the upper so that they can have the strength to get up and get the drugs, and they need the downer to come down off of the uppers. Yeah. Yeah, it's skyrocketed. And and this is something that a lot of people, and fentanyl, if you look at some of the behaviors of people that are addicted to fentanyl, flocka, things of that nature, they're totally out of their minds. So we are dealing with a drug epidemic. That's what Spirit was talking to me about today. These people on drugs. Some of these people that you even see on YouTube, they on drugs. That's why they'll say anything, they'll do anything. Somebody offer them $50. Hey, go spread a lie about this person. Talk about this, talk about that. It's another drug addict, probably a more sophisticated drug addict or drug dealer. Often drug dealers are addicts themselves. That's how they got into drug dealing. Is because they became an addict. You have to protect your energy from them, especially if you're an empath, because those drugs are making them sick. The drugs are not just making their eyes bulge out of their faces. The drugs are also making their eyes very painful. They're in pain. So once a drug addict or a crack cocaine addict has completely destroyed their own brain, now they want to sedate themselves. This is what we're dealing with. Okay. And drug addicts are constantly trying to find the fault of others when in reality, it's all about those drugs. That's just like several years ago, a lot of drug addicts was trying to find the fault in single mothers. You're just looking for fault in others because you're a drug addict. Anything that they can, that's why drug addicts flock towards indoctrinated beliefs because it makes them feel better about themselves. So that's why they're on the rampage, they're on the attack. You may be a decent person that did what you had to do for your family, for your children. If you're a woman or a man, you may have had to do what was right for your children. It turned into a hustle for the crackhead. The reason why people became addicted to it is because of the addiction. And you got to be careful who you watch on YouTube too, because if you are watching somebody, these YouTube streets are ether. It's air energy. These things can affect the brain. So your mind, your body, and your spirit is picking up on it. You have to shield yourself. Okay, and they're not spending thousands of dollars on drugs. They're not. They could never manifest that kind of money. They are a huge issue even on youtube.com. They harass people constantly, because they're unhappy, they're depressed, they're sad. A drug addict has no hope for their future. Most of them don't. So that's why they come to, people that have either gained some weight. People can always lose weight. They come to people, and especially the attack that drug addicts did on single mothers was disgusting. God is punishing them right now. You think a drug addict cares about the safety and the protection of women and children? Nah, they don't care about that. That's why they always talking about your money. They always talking about your money. Reason why they talking about your money is because you spending your money on your mortgage, your rent, your car payment, your insurance. Drug addicts typically they have the wisdom of paying cash for a car too. Why do they have that so-called wisdom? Because they wouldn't be able to keep up with a freaking car payment. They're not going to be able to do it. And some of y'all single mothers out there, you know, you may have to gather up some money to get a car so you can get to work so that you can, you know, get the kids to school and stuff. And they even mad about that. Any money that is being spent in this world on anything other than drugs, they have a problem with it. This is the way that their mind starts to work. So, for example, when I come on here and do my hauls, I got a haul video coming up this week for the group, for the Maybon group. We're going to be making an amazing balancing oil with lemon essential oil and what's that other oil? Tea tree oil. I thought about adding eucalyptus to it too. I might, but I wanted to just use 2 oils and a carrier oil. And so I've got a haul coming up for that. When they see the haul videos, they're like, she spent $50 on that. They're thinking about the $50 worth of drugs that they could have bought with that money. Any amount of money that is distributed, made, or created. Okay. Because when you are a business owner, or if you have a job, what are you doing? You are creating money for yourself with your own energy. They don't like that. They feel that everything revolves around them. You should just give them all your money and be homeless. And they affect the consciousness of people. They do. It's not to say that they're powerful, but there is some power in that if you give it to them. Let me light up my Apollo. Where's my Apollo stick at? Mm-hmm. Drug addicts and drug dealers will turn this world into crap if they can, because they just don't care. And yeah, a lot of people will say, well, I'm on the straight and narrow. I don't do drugs, never have. Why are these people harassing me? That's exactly who they harass. And a lot of drug addicts, they do what? They stick together. It's not that they actually love each other. I mean, think about it. Drug addicts don't know what love is. They have no idea. They have no idea what love is because they don't have self-love. If they ever love themselves, now I could see certain occurrences in life that could possibly lead you down that road. Because I've heard of people, oh man, that demon will set up so many horrible traps in your life for bad things to happen, for you to be open to that. You know what I'm saying? You know, and so they all have a backstory, but most of the time it's just that they just didn't care. They probably wanted to fit in with a crowd, and a crowd told them, hey, you know, we all smoke crack. Come smoke this crack with us. And then that's where it started, because they wanted to fit in. They wanted friends. They wanted to be accepted. That's how a lot of your parents got addicted to drugs. Okay, maybe somebody in their family turned them on to it or something like that. And so we are going to have to stay vigilant. Uh, and part of that is part of the reason why we have to stay vigilant, because that energy, it never stops. It's a constant want and a desire for those drugs. To the point where I have actually heard of people family members surrounding the drug addict where they felt like they lost their identity. That's exactly what happened. The reason why you lose your identity when you're dealing with a drug addict is because they've lost theirs. If they've done drugs for so long, their brain activity starts to work differently. So everything that we are, the consciousness that we are in, starts in the brain, in the mind. So you get a twisted mind like that. Focused on you, strike back at them. Do not go easy on them. These people will destroy your life, and they have done it. They've destroyed their lives. They've destroyed their children's lives. They try to destroy other people's children's lives. They don't care about nothing except for that drug. It comes first before everything, straight up and down. And the drug dealers keep creating drugs that are more addictive. Hey, Jen. Hey, Goddess of Light. Yeah. So I'd say, especially because, you're going to, here's how they talk. Oh, you spent $1,500 or $3,000. They're going to tell you what to do with your money because they think they're smarter than you. Oh, you spent that money on Christmas. They don't really want to say what they really want, what they really thinking. What they really thinking is that those thousands of dollars that you spent on that could have been on my drugs. Especially if it's a male and you're dealing with a female, because if you got a male pimp type who's a loser, he's a loser at life, straight up and down. And the only way you're gonna lift yourself up is if you admit that you ain't shit, right? He's a loser, and so he looks at women as if that's their money. So everything belongs to them because of them drugs. Lighten up my Apollo, y'all. Okay. And it's a lot of African American people that have meth addictions. They say that Black don't crack, but there's still certain signs in them. Drugs tend to not destroy, like methamphetamines. When you look at the pictures of meth addicts, all we see is pictures of white people, right? And, they tend to get messed up, but Black people can hide those meth addictions. They can hide that addiction. That melanin will preserve that skin. Eventually it's going to catch up with it. Eventually. Right. Right. They don't care. Ain't no Christmas tree. Ain't no gifts under the tree. All of that money got to go towards crack or meth or heroin. So that's one of the reasons why they attack you at your place of employment, is because they're angry. They're angry because they're angry because your money is being spent on something else, and all of what they have is being spent towards the addiction. They can say whatever they want to say about those of you that get up every day, or you work, or either you do your thing and you pay your rent. Okay. And I realize that there are some drug addicts that they are functioning. Okay. And so I feel like if you're going to be a drug addict, hey, whatever drug of choice that you have, do it. As long as you're not like those types, you know what I'm saying? I would prefer for you not, because those things are not good for you. However, the ones that we are talking about are the ones that are horrifyingly affected by their addiction to the point where they're running up on you. Right. They say Black don't crack till they on crack. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And so, you can't, you can tell that when you're dealing with drug addicts because, let's say that Jamila, decided to lose 25 pounds. A drug addict is going to say, oh, she lost that weight smoking drugs. Why would somebody need to lose weight smoking drugs? You guys have seen me on YouTube on my weight loss journeys for years, and it's called diet and exercise. But see, that's the mentality. It completely changes their perception. Completely changes their perception. And they try so hard because it is a curse. It's actually a death curse. Being addicted to hard narcotic drugs is a death wish. It's merely a countdown to the end of their life. And yeah, it takes a lot of energy to support that drug habit. And they come in for your energy. They need your energy. So, when you see them doing stuff like that, it's not just about money. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not about money, because they don't, whatever money that they get is going to go to their drug addict I'm sorry, their drug dealer. And the drug dealer, the drug dealers are their pimps. Bring me my money. They used to highlight how drug addicts, if they have somebody that's a money maker for them, how drug dealers would taunt and haunt that person. See, that is metaphoric for, the drug dealer's willpower over them is very strong too. So there's a specific relationship between the narcotic user and the dealer and the streets. They'll sleep out in their car to have them drugs. They don't care. That's why people cut them off. The reason why people cut off drug addicts is because they bring in so much negative energy. And I mean, they'll steal out of your purse. Next thing you know, that extra 20, 30, 40, I mean, they will rob you. So when you're dealing with a drug addict, you're also dealing with their drug dealer. And a lot of you guys that have been negatively affected by a drug addict, you got to understand this is a spiritual thing. There's spirits behind those drugs. And next thing you feeling like really, to be honest with you, it's best to just pretend like you don't have nothing when it comes to drug addicts, because if you let them know that you have something, then they gunning for you, especially women. For some reason, women catch a lot of the heat from all negative situations because they feel like women are weaker. That's why we have protection. That's one of the reasons why women work with the deities and the spirits that they work with. It is. It's very, very shady. I threw the cards on a drug addict today, and the sun card came up in the inverted position. Pessimism, negativity, depression, sadness. Send all that crap back to them. I don't have nothing to do with that. I don't have nothing to do with your addiction. And it ain't my fault. I made a not even a choice, but it just wasn't in the cards for you to be on those drugs. And so they're angry at you, mad at the world. Blame yourself. Blame yourself. You are the one that made the decision to do those drugs. It is nobody else's fault. Alcoholism is more of a self-sabotager. Alcoholics can be very self-destructive. But when it comes to an addict, they are animated, they are zombified. And this is a great deal of what's happening out here, on even on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So you do need spiritual protection from drug addicts. Absolutely. Next thing you know, it's almost like a Munchausen by proxy syndrome that they have. Next thing you know, if you keep a drug addict around you, or if you keep, in the same space, you got to cut them. You cut off, cut, cut the cord on a daily basis. I'm constantly cutting the cord with them. And the reason why is because, I mean, they figure all my hopes and dreams are gone. So why should you have anything? Okay. Mm, mm-hmm. Right, J Math. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So, that's one of the things, and you have to specify. You have to be very specific. Even when you're doing your protection, I am protected from drug addicts, from medical witchcraft. Drug addictions are medical witchcraft as well. So you have to be very, very specific. So a lot of you guys that even come to me for readings, if you are being afflicted by a drug addict, it's best to let me know. Because when I hear I'm dealing with this, is whether or not it's a family member, your baby daddy, your ex, whoever, ex-husband, you have to tell me, hey, listen, Jamila, don't be embarrassed either. Hey, I know these people, they're on drugs. That lets me know, and I can see it. Actually, I can see it in the cards. But what some of y'all will do is y'all will continuously let these people in your house because you feel sorry for them. You cannot let them in. You cannot let them in. You have to leave them outside. Don't ever let them in your house. Mm-hmm. So, and they know they need help with their drug addiction. I've even told people on YouTube that I could obviously tell, God dang, you are very erratic, and then they want you to be like them. No, I was responding to your erraticacy. They act very erratic, very evil. You can tell that a person is on methamphetamines because they'll start being real evil and hateful. And, as empaths, you have to protect your energy from them because they will tear you down every chance that they get. And you have to be aware that you are dealing with a spiritual thing as well. Otherwise, since their life is broken, their dreams are broken, their hope is all lost. They're hopeless as a penny with a hole in it. You have to make sure that that energy doesn't affect you. So this is one of the reasons why you have to put it in your mind that person's energy is not going to affect me or those spirits. Okay. Yeah, that's good, Jen. That's good. So, I'm going to tell y'all right now that it's going to get real rugged. It's going to get real raw. You're going to have to protect your houses. We are getting back into doing the vigils. The vigil candles, yes, spiritual work and witchcraft and sorcery will protect you from these people. Yes, it will. And so, as far as I'm concerned, we are actually doing candle vigils. Okay. And you're going to have to. Even if you have one drug addict in your family, it could be your uncle. Because this is what they don't tell you. Every drug addict gets made an offer by a demon. This is something that is secret that I'm about to reveal to y'all. Either when the drug addict doesn't have the drugs or when they're high on the drugs, an entity will come through and make a deal with them. Next thing you know, they sacrificing all of their family members. Yeah. Don't let it ruin your life. I see people saying it all the time. It has ruined my life. Fix it. You can always fix things. You can always make things better. Of course, we can always make things worse, but it's best to make things better. So don't ever say that. That's an affirmation. You say that it almost ruined my life. It could have ruined my life. Don't ever feel that way. If you feel that way, more than likely, you're sharing in the same energy as that person. And I'm sorry, you got to keep yourself straight. You do. You got to keep yourself on the straight and narrow. I know that for me, anybody that is dealing with a drug addict in their life, I would suggest doing the vigils. I'm actually waiting on some candles to get here. We're going back to doing the black candle vigils. Okay. We're going back to doing the black candle vigils. We did them at the beginning of this year, and they were amazing. We stopped somewhere around May. Okay. We stopped somewhere around May, and we shouldn't have stopped. If y'all remember at the first of the year, if you go back and look at my New Year's Eve witchy vlogs, I spoke about vigil candles, and those vigils were amazing. Constant warding off their demons and bad energy, a constant flame is the way to go. Okay. The black candle vigils are warding and protection. Yes, they are. Constant flame all month long. Just whatever you see. And I had to do it in 2019. Right before I moved out of my other house, I had to do it. I had to keep a flame going when I was because me and my family were living in a hotel. I had plenty of money, always had plenty of money. Broke people don't live in hotels. It's just that I had to get my stuff together with as far as my credit, because one of them went in and ran up my credit. I had a drug addict do that to me. I kept receiving these bill notifications from somewhere, and come to find out somebody had opened up a credit account in my name, and I had to build my credit back up. And I actually got this place. I got this place even before my credit where it's supposed to be. I just did spiritual work. They had messed up my credit. You understand? Had just jacked it up. My score went from it was at 624, and it went down. It went down. And the credit bureaus do not raise it back up. So I had to do spell work to get into this house. And luckily, well, not luckily, it's called skill. I was able to get approved for my house, because that's exactly why they did it. I spoke about moving into another house, and they tried to screw up my credit. I still got my house. So we're going back to the candle vigils. Okay, is what we're getting ready to do. We're going back to that. So if you guys want candle vigils, you guys can contact me. Candle vigils, guess how much they are per month? They're only $150 per month. You should do that in addition to the other workings that you're doing. If you need work on a budget, right? Let's say that you have some sort of hex or curse on you and you don't have $600. My curse removers, unblockers, or curse breakers, they start at 600. They go up to as much as 1,500, depending on what kind of curse that is manifesting. Okay. And if you are on a budget, you can get the protection doll. That's only $250, and the candle vigil, which is only $150. That will tide you over so you can build yourself up, build up your money. That way, if that drug addict shows up at your job, it ain't gonna have no effect. Black toenail polish. Oh my goodness, you're funny. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of people, if you think I'm expensive, I'm really not. There's a lot of people, a lot of my clients have, a lot of my clients have thousands of dollars in the bank, but some of my clients don't. And what I will do is I will offer them the bare minimum. Look, candle vigils 150, protection dolly 250, protection spirit doll 250. Once you get your protection dolly, you can do the 150 per month and you'll be straight. I remember earlier this year when I first announced, because the drug addicts are always constantly watching your money because they want to spend all the money on drugs. Earlier this year, though, in January, I had showed my black candle vigils, and there were like several of them on the table, and they got angry. Oh my God, all that money that could have been spent on their drugs, and for some, it's like, well, you're a drug addict and I'm a spiritualist doing work for people. How does that tie into each other? It doesn't matter. This is why they rob grocery stores, they rob stores. They don't care who you are. They feel like, if I can take away from you, I am. They do. They count your money all the time. So, for example, when I get my next go round, anytime I come on here and mention any client work, I can see the drug addicts just, that was money that, how much she charged for that? That was money that could have went towards my drugs. I came on here and showed my protection spirit doll. And that's literally how they turn into. Some of them manage to come online and articulate a few words, but the things that are coming out of their mouth are just garbage and trash. They're garbage. And they know it. So they get off them drugs and shut up. This is just what it is. So if you are dealing with a situation where a drug addict had an effect on you, whether or not it's through a third party or directly, then you can do the candle vigils, because I do have a shipment of black 7-day candles coming up. Now, if you want a 14-day vigil, I can get 14-day candles, and that's $250 for 14 days. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They look at your money like, I could have bought drugs with that. I would have I would have a supply of drugs. So, and sometimes people in your family, sometimes your bad friends can attract those types of people to you. Get off of that law of attraction stuff, because a lot of people say, well, what am I doing to attract this? Well, you ain't doing drugs. You ain't, there's nothing that you could have possibly done. Quit blaming yourself for that. So what is that? 250 plus 150, that's $400. A drug addict is shaking in their boots. God, $400. I could be in hog heaven, but they're not in hog heaven. They're miserable. They're miserable with the drugs and they're miserable without the drugs. That's what drugs eventually does to the body and the mind. So where there's a will, there's a way. Okay. Now we are doing the Maybon circle, but I feel that if you, because it does tend to open up doors in their mind. And then the next thing you're kind of feeling weird. And it sucks because they're using the bathroom. They've polluted the water totally. The water is polluted by their feces and their pee. That's why a lot of people put filters on their homes and their water supply. I wish I had one on my water supply to filter out all that filth. It's going back into the water. They are destroying the world. If a drug dealer didn't have the drug addict to sell it to, there would be no problems. There would be no drug dealers. Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm. Well, they can't kill my spells and my dreams. I'm way too powerful for that. But I think that that is the solution, because a lot of you guys that had drug addicted parents, whether or not it was your father or your mother, a lot of you guys found yourself struggling through life. And you couldn't understand why, because you wasn't on drugs. It was the energy. And then, especially if you're dealing with the consciousness of religion, then as the child, you have to suffer the sins of the father or the mother. So that's when you truly have to choose between yourself and them. Which one you gonna choose? Okay. But I gotta go. I gotta follow up with somebody. Again, if you have an addiction, I'm not saying that my doors are closed to you. I'm not even saying that. You know what I'm saying? But you have to be straight up. I don't think any of my clients have been on drugs, honestly, because a drug addict is not going to pay $50 or $80 for reading. They're not going to do it. Not usually. Right. And they're just filled with demons. Now, marijuana, again, marijuana is not considered to be a drug. That's why it's legal all over the place. In certain areas, however, I think that, because I'm over here in Georgia, if they were to ever legalize marijuana in Georgia, I see it being a problem. I see it being a problem. And the reason why I see it being a problem is because that's going to take away from the drug dealers. And the Atlanta streets have not been cleaned up enough for that. So, once they legalize it, you would think that all of these businesses are going to go up selling, medical marijuana for either medical use or recreational use. They'd have to worry about being robbed constantly. Okay. Yeah. I'll say that marijuana is only harmful if you are mixing it. If you're a marijuana user, but you're acquainted with people that do other drugs. That can be a problem because marijuana opens up the consciousness and it can affect, how you feel or what you're thinking when you do get high off of marijuana. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice if we could have some dispensaries over here, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think Georgia is quite ready for that because I think that there would be a problem. I think that it would increase the crime rate because right now, a lot of the marijuana sellers, they're very dependent on that money. And if they can't get it by selling marijuana, then they might get it by robbing and invading houses and stuff. Okay. And yes, spiritual work will protect you from being robbed. Yes, it will. So it's a lot to deal with. And especially when the economy starts to fall, I think that all of that is straight up bull crap. Again, I think it's a game from the higher ups. It's kind of like the Game of Thrones or survival of the fittest, but it does cause society in general to be open to more craziness. So, yeah, yeah, that stuff is that right there, that's a person that has a death wish. Most of the people that I know that did Sherm, they call it Sherm, they already dead. They're already gone, dead and gone. So, it's sad as it is, life, you know what I'm saying? If you made good decisions to be, straight in life, you shouldn't have to be bothered with all of that crap. But they'll bring it through your back door. They'll climb in through windows. It does. It does. It gives you brain damage. Yes, it does. But really, if you're not careful, it's everybody's sickness. Really, that's one of the main issues that goes beyond radioactive waves and all of this other stuff that people talk about. Really, what we're dealing with is the war on drugs. It's the war on drugs. So, a lot of people are not protected from it. And that's one of the reasons why, you can be affected energetically by people like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. So protect yourselves, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people that contact me, they say, I can't afford to get work done. Well, get the candle vigil. And then by next month, you'll be able to afford to get the protection doll. Where there's a will, there is a way constantly. A lot of my clients, what my spirits will do, and I can see it, they will literally put a guard by your front door. Because some people need guardians that can be manifested and conjured through herbs. I have several herbs in my apothecary that will bring about guardianship, and I keep plenty of it. One of them that I use on and in my spirit dolls is golden seal. Okay. Another one would be basil. Basil is a herb that roots traveled to hell and came back. So basil is one of the strongest that you can use, but so is golden seal. It's up there with basil. Yeah. And a lot of our men need to be in a mindset to protect us. They try to convince them not to protect us, but we do need the protection of men that are not on those drugs. Because a lot of women and children, you know, we're just wide open to and susceptible to their bull crap, and it ain't right. People have the right to live and enjoy life. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I will catch you guys later. I gotta follow up with somebody real quick. Like I said, do the candle vigils. I would do that. I know that I'm going to be doing it for the next 3 months. Just blast everything, anything that's meant to, hurt you, anything that's meant to stop or block your money, anything that's meant to, attract negativity to you, hatred, the evil eye. Pretty much is what we do. It just pretty much obliterates every damn thing. Things that don't serve your earthly purpose, your etheric purpose, and then also you got to ask yourself, how do they keep getting in? That's the main aspect of what I teach during my classes. You ever see a drug addict and everybody around them is sick and dying, and you wonder why? Everybody around the drug addict is sick and dying except for the drug addict, and that is because those demonic spirits are protecting them. This is a cash cow for the dealer. So that person must be protected. The people around them are the ones that end up being harmed. Okay. And it's always been a spiritual thing. It's always been a spiritual thing. All right, guys, I will catch y'all later. I'm going to get me something to eat. And depending on if I have time, I'm going to come back and do those dice readings. Uh, just to kind of have a little bit of fun because, it's like this dark cloud of that they is just like blah god it the frequencies of a drug addict literally upsets my stomach. It'll make you throw up. Drug addict just raged on me and called police. Wow. They will do that, but see, it is because I'm gonna tell you why. uh if they're smoking crack or meth, their heart rate is speeded up, their blood pressure is up, their blood pressure is up, and they're not feeling well. Oh, come on. Don't be listening to me while you, oh Lord. So you was just around a drug addict that was listening to me? Wow. Wow. Put your headphones on, baby. Put your headphones on, sweetie. Tell them to get some help. Take them to the nearest drug treatment center. Wow. Wow. Mm-mm-mm. Anyway, you know, so they just have to go and get clean. That's all they got to do is go and get clean. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, y'all, I gotta go. I'm about to get me a little snack to eat. So I gotta go. I will catch y'all later. Stay vigilant, man. And oh, this was the last thing my spirits wanted me to tell y'all. Drug addicts do not need to know where you live. They don't need to know your address or your telephone number. They don't. Quit telling drug addicts where you live. Stop telling them where you stay at because, if they're not robbing you, they're making deals with demons. They're making deals with demons. Okay. All right, y'all. Blessings to y'all. Peace.